It's Heels on Wheels, the racing show by female racers, for female racers, about female racers, featuring female racers, with a few surprises thrown in. Heels on Wheels is brought to you by Renew Salon and Spa, Excelsior Racing, and Dragonflies and Nymphs Creation. And now, here are your hosts.
Hey everyone, and thanks for joining us on the Heels on Wheels radio program, brought to you by the Performance Motorsports Network. We are back after a long Easter vacation, and I know I'm ready to get talking about some racing. So, Krista, how are you? I see you had an exciting weekend. Tell us about your track run.
Hey, I went racing, yeah. So I actually got a new best in my car. This is the first time out on the new setup. So I went low 11s. I'm like right on the cusp of 10, which is a huge deal for a 3-valve motor. So next weekend's my NMRA race. Keep your fingers crossed.
That's awesome. We can't wait to see more videos. Diana, you're back with us this week, feeling much better. What have you been up to?
Well, I know there's a lot of people that wish that I still didn't get my voice back, but I'm so sorry to disappoint. No, not really. Getting back to life, just keeping the pedal to the metal. Got some great news coming up with NHRA and some crazy news from the weird about F1 and Michael Schumacher. And we'll be hitting that in a little bit. But that's about it. It's going to be an exciting show today.
Always exciting. All right, let's get right into our guest lineup for tonight. We have Carter turned stock car driver, Kayla Lyons, and editor of Muscle Mustangs and Fast Forwards magazine, network content director for Mustang 360, and NHRA drag racer, Evan Smith. And of course, KDP is back with more from Beauty's Got Muscle, and another great grilling recipe from Tailgate Grillin' with Sizzlin Scotty. Have you ever posted a question on social media or a discussion forum, and by the end of the conversation, you had either been called every name in the book or felt like you knew absolutely nothing? Yeah, well, stick around for our racing roundtable to hear what our ladies have to say about that. This is going to get good, so let's put those heels in drive and get this show on the road. Like Diana said, racing news this week, there's some crazy stuff going on. Krista, what do you have for us?
The big story that I looked up, besides NHRA running this coming weekend at Royal Purple Raceway in Texas, is Jesse James is sponsoring a top fueler for Kayla Motorsports, which we all know that his woman, I guess it's his wife now, Alexis DeJoria, who's been super successful in funny car. So that's her husband. So apparently he just started a big gun line, and he's even getting more involved with Kayla Motorsports, and he's going out and sponsoring big time. So we'll see what happens. It's running in Houston for the first time, so interesting.
That's going to be an awesome race, I'm sure. Diana, what do you have for us this week?
Well, that's always cool to hear that Dusty is getting supportive of his woman, because usually, he's usually dogging whoever he's with. So maybe somebody's finally growing up. We can only hope.
That sounds like a roundtable discussion for me.
Hey, I'm jaded with men. I'll be the first to admit it. Okay, top fuel. We've got some great point standings, and the latest from the last race. Right now we've got Brittany Force is in 8th position, and Leah Pritchett's in 15th. And then, as we said, Alexis is still kicking ass. She's in 3rd position in the funny car slot, and then she's really closely right behind John Force. So that's definitely a very good achievement. And then, of course, Courtney Force is in 8th in funny cars. And then for Pro Stock, my girl Erica Enders is in 1st position with 426 points.
That's awesome.
Eric
She's doing
Ross.
so well.
Yes, she is kicking butt.
Hey, and guess what? No new news in women's NASCAR. So, right.
Speaking of that, I just read that Danica Patrick just had a little niece born this week, and they're expecting her to be in a car before kindergarten. Krista, I knew you would love that.
Aw, well, I mean, okay, maybe it skips a generation, and she's really good at what she does. All joking aside, congratulations to the family, though. That's really exciting.
Yeah, I mean, it's always nice to have a baby, and I'm sure it's super exciting to have one when you're, have famous relatives, and I'm sure there's lots of media around them. So I want to talk about the F1 Chinese Grand Prix, they waved the 1-to-go flag 1 lap early, so then they don't count anything after that. So the race basically stopped on lap 54 instead of going the entire 56 laps. Fortunately, it didn't cause any disruptions really, except I think 17th and 18th place. But seriously, you had one job. One job.
Yeah, didn't we just interview a flagger last week?
Yeah. On our blog.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. You had one job to do, and that was it, and you messed it up.
I saw playing on Instagram.
Yeah, fail.
Okay, also, Helio Castroneves is on probation through June for tweeting his anger about IndyCar not penalizing drivers in the race. He tweeted something, along those lines, and then also put a picture of the IndyCar logo with a big thumbs down next to it. I'm sorry, if you're making that much money driving for IndyCar, don't do stupid things like that.
Yeah, I mean, when you're in the media eye, you really have to watch what you do because everything gets used against you. And, that's such a high-profile sport, they expect you to act like a fucking adult. But, I mean, on a positive note, he didn't drop F-bombs and, ass next to the IndyCar logo.
All right. Before we go, I know, Diana, you had some Michael Schumacher news.
I don't know, Shoemaker, it all depends on where you're from. Yeah, it's crazy. It's like he's getting sued while he's still pretty comatose, but for an accident that he was in, I guess he hit a Spanish motorcyclist while he was driving near Seville, and this happened just a couple of weeks before his big accident. And so now this little motorcycle guy, of course, he's pissed off, and so he's like, I don't give a shit if you're in a coma. I'm going to sue your ass.
Well, and, I also saw that the accident that caused him to be in a coma is now under serious investigation because when the paramedics got there, they underestimated the severity of the trauma. So now that's going to be looked at too. So really, leave the man alone, honestly. Just leave him alone.
Oh, no. Now we've got people sneaking into his ICU room. One guy was dressed as a priest.
I saw that.
Wait, no. Oh, you know what? They said father. No, sorry. Wait. Hold on. Let me back up here. One guy was trying to pretend to be his father. Okay, that was the one. And then, the other guy, I couldn't believe this. He was dressed as a priest.
Yeah.
And attempted to gain access. And it's like people are losing their minds. And one of them was a journalist. I mean, come on.
I tell you, this world is going to pot.
Yeah, seriously, just leave him alone.
Yeah, I mean, they must go with the Inquirer because that is not a journalist. It's going to go and speak out though.
All right.
Everybody's racing for the story. Everybody wants a piece of everybody else just to get ahead. I just, just fucking leave it alone.
All right. Well, unfortunately, that's all we have for racing news this week. We will definitely have more to talk about next week, but for right now, let's go see what Scotty's got grilling in the grill.
Thanks very much, Taylor. Yes, this is Sizzlin Scotty with another great, fantastic grilling recipe. Today we're going to actually do a recipe that is a fan favorite at our tailgate. It's a little exotic. What we're going to do is we're going to do some shrimp, and we're going to have some grilled shrimp that's been wrapped in prosciutto and basil, and it's served up with a really nice Cajun garlic sauce. So we're going to get right into this great recipe. Very easy, very simple. Prepare it the night before, bring it to the tailgate, and cook it all up right there, and people will go nuts for it. What we're going to need here for the shrimp skewers themselves is we're going to need 24 fresh leaves of basil. We're going to need 12 thin slices of quality prosciutto, and you're going to slice that in half the long way. 24 extra large shrimp, and those have been peeled and deveined. Feel like you want to leave the tails on, tails off, whatever you want to do. I like just getting that whole shell right off of there. 24 bamboo skewers, and then we're going to soak these in water for at least 2 hours before using them. We've said it before on the show. If you'd like to soak these in some white wine, that works very well too. And then we're going to use your favorite rub. if desired, for dusting the shrimp, or you can just dust them with some salt and pepper. So the recipe for the skewers is we're going to take 1 basil leaf at the end of each slice of prosciutto. We're going to add the shrimp. We're going to dust it with rub and then roll that shrimp right up with the prosciutto and thread it onto a skewer. And you're going to repeat that for all 24. Place the skewers on a plate or on a baking sheet and refrigerate them until you're ready to grill. And if you want to refrigerate them overnight, that's totally fine. Next, the ingredients for the Cajun garlic sauce. What we're going to do is we're going to have 1/3 cup of red wine, 3 tablespoons of Cajun mustard. We're going to take 1 large clove of garlic, and we're going to chop that up fine. And we're going to have 1 cup of extra virgin olive oil. Now, to make this garlic sauce, Cajun garlic sauce, we're going to combine the ingredients in a blender or a food processor or in a big bowl, and you can use a hand immersion blender if you'd like. We're going to do this with the machine running, and it running very slow. And as it's running slow, we're going to drizzle the oil in there in a thin stream. The key to doing this is we want to add it slow, because if we add it too fast, the sauce will break, so to speak, and it won't come together the way that you want to. About 15 or 20 minutes before you're ready to grill, spoon some of that nice sauce, about 1/3 of it, over the shrimp. And you're going to reserve the rest of the sauce to use as a dipping sauce once our shrimp is all grilled up nice and done. Prepare your grill to about a medium hot fire and grill the shrimp, turning often until they become white or opaque. And the grilling time for this is typically about 6 to 8 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes aside. You can wrap that, check on the doneness. You'll see it grill up right in front of your eyes. I like to do it along the edge of the grill because that way the skewers hang off and that way we're not burning the skewers. If you want to use a metal skewer, that's fine also. But again, watch the heat and watch yourself around the grill. We don't want any accidents around the grill. These can be served up with some white wine, some red wine, or a nice ice cold beer if you'd like. We're getting into that time of the year where a nice margarita would even come in handy, and I'm sure you ladies would all like that. So to our listeners, you can find this great recipe on my Facebook page, which is Tailgate Grillin' with Sizzlin Scotty. You can also find it on the Heels on Wheels Facebook page. Check things out on our pages and give us a like and let us know what you'd like to hear about in a future show. You can also follow me on Twitter, and that's @Sizzlin Scotty. So again, a great recipe for a great tailgate and great friends and great food. So we'll be back right after these messages.
In the race of everyday life, it's nice to have the green flag. But drivetrain problems are the pits. A fully remanufactured engine, transmission, or differential from Jasper Engines and Transmissions costs less than a new vehicle and comes with a 3-year, 100,000-mile nationwide transferable warranty. See JasperEngines.com for details and get the green flag in your race of everyday life.
See the boys at Chandler & Sons Automotive, 45977 Old Ox Road in Sterling. Give them a call, 703-437-7300.
On the air, you may know me as the man about motorsports. Actually, I've been the man about insurance for over 30 years. With one call, I can cover your life, health, auto, home, and business insurance. Recently, I saved a young couple over $500 on their annual car insurance bill. No gimmicks and no green lizard. So if you think your insurer is really your good neighbor who is on your side because he is holding your money in his good hands, think again. Call me, 703-631-8000. I have dozens of insurance companies waiting to give you the protection you need and deserve. It may take more than 15 minutes, but you'll receive sound advice, quality professional service, and an honest opinion. That number again, 703-631-8000. Ask for Larry O.
Tincher Williams Chevrolet Buick GMC is your Lexington, Kentucky and Corbin Chevy Buick and GMC authority. From pre-owned to the newest models, Tincher Williams is the only place to shop in the Lexington area. Check out their website for your next new or pre-owned vehicle, www.tincherwilliamschevrolet.com. All of the full-line inventory of in-stock and on-order Buicks, GMC trucks, and Chevrolets are right there online. Plus, you can check out what's hot at Tincher Williams on the homepage. Schedule your service appointment. Browse the inventory. Look for Tincher Williams specials. Check out your financing options. See what GM incentives are being offered for your vehicle. You can even shop for new tires at their convenient online tire store and get directions from wherever you are right there. It's all online at www.tincherwilliamschevrolet.com. That's Tincher Williams Chevrolet Buick GMC, located in London, Kentucky, your Lexington and Corbin Chevy Buick and GMC authority.
This is Heels on Wheels on the PerformanceMotorsportNetwork.com. Now, back to the fastest ladies on four wheels.
And we're back with the Heels on Wheels radio program. Krista, shrimp and margaritas. You know, I could go for that right about now.
Rolled shrimp, baked shrimp, shrimp on rice, fried shrimp, shrimp scampi.
And now we're going into movie quotes.
Talking about shrimp.
All right. We have a successful karter turned stock car driver on the phone with us tonight, Kayla Lyons, and she's doing some amazing stuff. How are you today, Kayla?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
We're doing well. So why don't you start by telling us a little bit about what you're doing now and how you got into racing?
Well, right now I am racing a mini stock car called the Bandolero. I've been racing it probably for about a year now. I'm in the Outlaws, which is the highest level of class that you can be in for the Bando. Well, I started racing when I was 8. I started racing go-karts at an indoor go-kart track called Victory Lane Karting. It's in Charlotte. And after that, I've just kind of been stuck on it.
So do you have your own race team, or do you race for someone else?
I race for someone else, but Kayla Lyons Racing is a business.
And do you have any other girls on your team, or is it just guys?
Just guys.
So tell us, I always like to ask this question, your first victory that you ever won, how did you handle that, and what went through your head?
Well, it was kind of I can't believe I just did that kind of thing, you know, just the adrenaline, and I don't know, I surprised myself, actually.
So tell us about your season so far. I mean, we're not too deep into the season yet, but you've had a couple of races so far. How's that going?
It's doing pretty well. We just switched over to a different team, so I've got a new setup and, you know, kind of new teammates and everything, so I'm trying to get adjusted to the car and stuff, but, I mean, I'm running about mid-pack, so I guess it's going pretty well.
What is, you mentioned that you had a new team. I mean, what are the dynamics that you're working with there as far as getting used to each other? What is the most difficult part?
Probably the car, because the car is set up so different than it was before. I have teammates that are from New York, and I only get to see them like every now and then, so I'm not really, you know, close with them. It's just it's all scattered, but it's getting there. Hopefully, I'll get used to everybody soon.
How often do you get to practice?
We practice every day that we race. We practice before the race. We get 2 practices before each race. So I get to, let's say, because I race on Fridays and Saturdays, so I get to race about 4 times a weekend, like practice-wise.
So, you know, coming from a drag racer, you know, from my perspective, I noticed that, you know, my skills kind of go away a little bit after, you know, if you only practice or do test and tune right before you race. I mean, is there any way that you can practice between race weekends or not?
Yeah, I could rent the track, but right now we kind of don't have the money for that, so we haven't done that yet. But we plan on doing it soon, because I need to get more comfortable with the track, with that car.
So I want to talk about your charity for a minute, and it looks like on your Facebook page you're really into this charity. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, the charity is helping kids, helps our heart race, or makes our heart race, sorry. They have been good to us, and, I'm just trying to, we're doing this thing where it's, you help me, I help you. The kid I met recently was just adorable. I don't know, the MDA picked a kid for me to meet at the 4-wide nationals at ZMAX, and I don't know, I really like doing charity work. I kind of always had like a special place in my heart for kids with special needs.
Are there any plans in the future, getting more into the charity work end of maybe teaching young girls for these charities to race?
Yeah, I've decided already, no matter where the racing takes me, that is what I'm doing with whatever. I'm going to either probably be a special needs teacher or, just do as much with the charities as I can with my racing.
So what are the names of these charities? I mean, is it like a couple of multiple charities? Are they kind of, or you're like a big sister, or you're mentoring, or are they actual like little race charities for kids that want to grow up to be race car drivers?
It's kind of more of a thing where I, go in and just kind of hang out with them and, talk to them, just be their friend, and, just answer any questions they have about racing because they love it. And, I guess I'm pretty much like a big sister kind of thing, but it's, but more of a kind of, I just go to be with them and have them, have a good time.
So I read on your Facebook page that you're taking some pretty interesting electives right now. And it's crazy to me that your school offers some of these classes that you're going to be taking.
Yeah, it's actually there's like a school called it's ATC, which is Applied Technology Center, and they have all those kind of classes, and I just walked next door to those classes, and that's where all the classes I'm going to be taking like that for the motorsports or the.
So what classes are you going to be taking?
I'm going to be taking a second level to auto body because I took the first level, and I honestly love the auto body work. I didn't think I would, but I did, and I'm going to take that, and I'm going to be taking a marketing class, and then also I'm going to be taking total body all year long.
That's actually interesting that you just said you're combining marketing with auto body, because we're finding as you get deeper into motorsports and higher up in the ranks that, the two play hand in hand. How do you think that's going to help you personally?
Well, it'll help me be able to attract, potential sponsors, of course. It'll help me manage the money. Me and my dad run the business. So, it's a struggle, and I kind of need to learn how to do these things so, I can do them myself. I've recently took a class. It was a marketing class for Anna Marie. She taught it. I won it. And it was a 12-week class, and it was a marketing class. And it helped so much, I decided to go ahead and take it in school.
We've actually had her on the show, and she does some amazing things with these young, talented race car drivers. And, you mentioned your sponsors or getting sponsors, and you actually have a pretty big sponsor right now. Can you tell us about that?
Amsoil.
Yeah.
I am in the driver affiliate program. So technically they're not a sponsor, but I am officially my dad is officially like an Amsoil dealer. So whatever we sell we get kind of like every month, like depending on how much we sell, we get a check to go towards my racing. So, I mean, it is.
That's great.
Yeah, so it helps a lot when we don't have any money because my dad's a single dad, you know, single parent and 2 kids, you know, so it's kind of a check was like, whoo, you know, race money just kind of helps a lot.
That's so awesome that you can get into a program like that. I mean, I'm sure there are tons of more programs like that around, and to get into something like that and get the money to go racing, but have to work for it, not just be handed things. I think it really teaches discipline and marketing skills, obviously. But, you know, I want to ask you, who is your idol in the racing industry? Who do you look up to most in the industry?
It would probably be Dale Jr. That is probably my favorite driver, and he just, this season, he's kind of like just stepped up his game, and it's amazing that he's actually doing that well this, you know, season.
Especially since recovering from what happened to his dad years ago. I mean, he went through a hard time, but you're right. He's really pulled through, and he's shown his value.
That's for sure. So with you saying that, are your plans for the future you want to stick with the stock car, NASCAR side of things, or have you ever thought about doing anything else?
No, that's pretty much what I've decided I wanted to do. I had a little bit of dirt, and it just kind of wasn't, you know, for me. I don't like stuff in my eyes, so the sand and the dirt just didn't work. Yeah, I want to stick to asphalt as in, you know, for stock cars and try to get a NASCAR.
That's awesome. I mean, it's a good place to start, and you know, there are a few women coming up in the NASCAR series, and if you work hard enough, I'm sure you'll get there. And you know, you've done some great things already, and working for charities and having a sponsor like you do or are working for, it'll help a lot. So do you have any other sponsors you want to mention before we go?
Well, no, I just want to thank the manager of the charity, Charlie Fluggy, and I want to thank Woody, which is my crew chief at CWRR, and I also want to thank Todd Filler, which is the I guess you could say the manager for the program that I am with Amsoil at East Coast Synthetics.
Well, that's awesome. It's great to thank those people that mean the most to you and help you out with your racing career. And we've really enjoyed talking to you today, and we're going to keep up with your racing career, and we'll have you back on the show soon.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. This has been Taylor Hyatt along with Krista Elise and Diana Clausen for Heels on Wheels radio program on the Performance Motorsports Network. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Hey everybody, I'm Andy DeLay from Burning Rubber Radio, here for Emergency Pest Patrol in Tampa, Florida. You've all heard about bed bugs. They really should be called car bugs, chair bugs, plane bugs, train bugs, you name it. The people are there, bed bugs are there too. They infest your homes and businesses, and getting rid of them means spending a lot of money. Emergency Pest Patrol in Tampa, Florida can help no matter where you're at. They offer canine bed bug detection to find them before your customers or your guests or your family does. They offer extermination services starting at only $395 per room in the Tampa Bay area, but they'll travel anywhere in the continental United States. No job is too big or too small for these guys. Call Emergency Pest Patrol now at 877-ON-PATROL. That's 877-667-2876. Or you can visit them on the web at emergencypestpatrol.com. Don't let the bedbugs bite.
Did you know that birthday parties help build confidence in kids?
Yeah. Did you know that giving kids less sugar before bedtime helps them sleep better?
Oh, totally. Did you know that friendly kids have more friends?
Everybody knows that.
Hey, guys, did you know that most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
I didn't know that.
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right car seat at the right age and size. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat to make sure your child is protected. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
In the race of everyday life, it's nice to have the green flag. But drivetrain problems are the pits. A fully remanufactured engine, transmission, or differential from Jasper Engines and Transmissions costs less than a new vehicle and comes with a 3-year, 100,000-mile nationwide transferable warranty. See JasperEngines.com for details and get the green flag in your race of everyday life.
See the boys at Chandler & Sons Automotive, 45977 Old Ox Road in Sterling. Give them a call, 703-437-7300.
Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, it's up to you to be ready. Get a kit. Make a plan. Be informed. Learn how at www.ready.gov. Brought to you by the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the Ad Council.
This is Heels on Wheels on the PerformanceMotorsportsNetwork.com. Now, back to the fastest ladies on two wheels.
All right, we are back on the Heels on Wheels radio program, and, Bob, our producer sitting next to me, I think my office chair has 5 wheels, not 2, but, we'll discuss that at a later time. All right, we have a very important guest with us today, and yes, he is a guy, but, that's kind of been our theme these last couple of shows. We like having guys on the show every once in a while. He is the editor of Muscle Mustangs and Fast Forwards magazine, also the network content director for Mustang 360, and an NHRA drag racer. His name is Evan Smith, and he's a friend of Krista's, and he's doing some really amazing things. So I think I will let Krista take it from here.
Okay, so we all know that I'm a diehard Ford, and this is really close to my heart. Only coming up in the media world, but also being involved in drag racing in general. Hi, Evan. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Oh, the pleasure is all mine. Thanks for having me on.
So, I think it's really cool. I know if you're into Mustangs, everybody should know who you are because you've really been in every facet of the industry and you've worked yourself up the hard way. But, give our fans a little bit of background on, where you've been and what you've been doing the last couple of years.
Okay, well, the last couple of years, I've been at Muscle Mustangs a pretty long time, coming up on 2 decades, actually. And I was years ago, in my early 20s, I was a line mechanic at a dealership. Didn't think that was going to work out too well, working on cars every day. So I went back to college, and I also worked at Raceway Park at Englishtown at the time. And I did everything there, from working the bleach box to the staging lanes to the time card booth to announcing, and worked promoting car shows and working with the Knapp family, who really gave me my start in motorsports. Met a lot of photographers. Some of them were working for a company called CSK Publishing at the time. And I ended up just doing photography for Muscle Mustangs while I still was in college and working at Raceway. And before I graduated, I had a job offer, and basically I've been with Muscle Mustangs ever since. And I've done some NHRA racing, like you've said, over the years. And the last couple of years has been pretty exciting. I moved from New Jersey to Florida, which is quite a culture shock. And I haven't had to deal with snow anymore, which is a wonderful thing.
After this winter, yes.
I also took on some road racing and other types of racing. Hill climb. I did a hill climb, and been fortunate enough to be part of the Cobra Jet program with Ford.
Yeah, so speaking of racing, you've been involved in almost every type. You drag race, you've done One Lap America. What do you enjoy most so far?
To be honest, I just love racing and being around the cars and the people. I don't really have a favorite. Each one of the types of racing has its pros and its cons. Drag racing's great because it's really a people sport, and the fact that the race is over with so quick, if you won or lost in a matter of minutes. There's a lot of prep that goes into having a competitive car and mentally preparing yourself to compete, whether it's at NHRA or NMRA or the local brackets, or just to go to a time trial night in order to be able to do your best. But it's instant gratification in drag racing. I've done the road racing. I've done is more endurance road racing. You have 4 or 5 drivers, and they're 12 or 13-hour races. so that really wears on you when you're actually driving the car. The road racing can be probably, I don't want to say the most fun, because driving a fast drag car is pretty fun too, but it definitely, I think, takes more driver skill to be fast in a road race car, because you're involving more things. You're involving braking and handling, so your feel as a driver, being able to put the car on the ragged edge, will give you an advantage over somebody who's not quite as good. Usually I'm out there getting passed, so I'm trying to learn from everybody else. But where in drag racing, I think more falls on the car. Sure, you have to be good on the tree, and if you're driving a manual trans on street tires, that's a lot of driver skill. But if you're driving a car that has, say, a trans brake and you've done a good burnout, you pretty much know the car is going to hook. So you're focused on cutting a light, and then maybe if you're bracket racing, talking about driving the finish line, where your ability to drive the car isn't as important as your skills to cut a light and maybe judge the finish line.
Okay, so speaking of drag racing, because this is really cool to me as well, not only is NMRA at MIR coming up next weekend, but I hear Muscle Mustangs also has a lot to do with an all-female shootout coming up in Norwalk in June. And that's also an NMRA race, but you guys have really been pushing, women getting serious in drag racing lately.
Yeah, we love seeing women in drag racing. Obviously, our magazine has promoted women over the years, whether it's really any types, whether they're doing, feature shoots as a model or drag racing or building cars. It doesn't really matter to us if you're a guy or a girl. If you build a cool car and you want to be involved, we dig it. And we have a pretty strong participation from our female competitors in the True Street class. And we do an event in Florida called the Spring Break Shootout, where we have our True Street. Well, actually, I should backtrack just for a quick second, Krista, because some of the listeners might not know what True Street is. So True Street, basically, in a nutshell, we do a 30-mile road drive. You come back to the track. You do 3 back-to-back passes where you're not allowed to tune the car, and the winner is the one with the lowest average. And then we also have awards for the lowest, say, 15-second, 14-second, 13-second, and so on. And we were getting a lot of female participation. So with the help of Royal Purple, a great company that stepped up to sponsor the class, and they have a Royal Purple Ladies website,
yes,
and they do a lot with females. So Royal Purple got involved with the NMRA and with us to produce an all-female shootout. And, of course, if you've been around drag racing, you've always seen the guys' wives jump in the street cars and they do a powder puff race. Well, this is nothing like that. This is women in their real street strip cars, because they got to be street legal to run True Street, competing in a national series for big-time prizes. I think the winner went 8th last year, and we had quite a few women driving 10 and 11-second Mustangs and other types of Fords, and it was just incredible. Royal Purple stepped up to sponsor the deal, and I want to say we had 22 competitors, female competitors, out of the 120-something that were involved in the entire event, which I thought was excellent for a first year, and I'm really hoping that we can double that and then have 30, 40, maybe 50 females competing this year in Norwalk.
That's great, Evan. This is Diana from AutoGoddess.com. And, Krista has really been doing a lot of automotive writing, especially in the race world. And I know Source Interlink is really big time into females. I actually covered the female Mustang build that you guys were huge sponsors of for SEMA a couple years back.
Yes, we covered that car as well.
Yeah, it's been great to see you guys really promoting females in the industry. And I got to tell you, I'm sitting here so jealous because I'm from Florida, and I miss Florida. And you're talking about my drag strips. You're talking about Sunshine Speedway and Bradenton and Daytona. So I'm so happy that you're here with us today.
No problem. In fact, we have Amy Williams on staff, who's one of our staff writers, and I oversee all of our Ford brands. And we have Alyssa Kuhn, who writes for us, and Stephanie Davies, who writes for us, and they're total gearheads, as well as writers as well. They're not just out there writing stories. They own Mustangs and they race cars. So we have a lot of opportunities from all sides of it, not just the racing. or the modeling, but to get involved from a journalistic standpoint as well, photography. If you can shoot and you can write, again, it doesn't matter. We love the good content. It doesn't matter who produces it. We give everybody a chance.
Evan, more and more women are coming into the industry every day, but, you mostly see them in marketing and journalistic roles, but then you see all these women going into NHRA. Do you think there's a reason why more women focus on NHRA than other types of racing?
Yes, because I think NHRA, even dating back to, of course, it might even sound slightly cliche, but the Shirley Muldownys and the Angel Savoys who raced in the pro stock motorcycle category, they've really opened the door and made it acceptable, long before I even came around, for women to compete. The Judy Lillys and the Shirley Shahans who raced in the stock and super stock classes. And I race in the stock eliminator class. And to be honest with you, when I line up, it doesn't matter who I'm racing. And there's so many women in NHRA, even in the sportsman classes. Of course, Ashley Force and the pro drivers. Alexis DeJourna's just won a couple events in Funny Car this year. I don't think there's any guy in drag racing who looks at a woman drag racer and looks down on her for being a woman, or says, "Oh, I'm going to kick her butt because she's a woman." They get equal billing in whether it's NHRA drag racing or like Valerie Clements, who's running in the Renegade class. I don't think anybody looks at a woman in drag racing in a negative light. It's just another competitor out there who's driving a car, and you want to beat them just as bad as you would want to beat any other guy. And I can't speak for the other sports like NASCAR. Obviously, Danica Patrick gets a lot of coverage, maybe more so than some other females that have attempted to run NASCAR. But there are quite a few female road racers who do very well. I just don't think they get quite as much ink as some of the drag racers do.
I agree with you 100%. Before we go here, I want to give you a little bit of time to make sure we get your social media sites out there and anyone you would like to thank or any sponsors.
Well, of course, we just a few weeks ago we launched our new website, which is Mustang-360.com, and that's been something that we've been really proud of. We worked hard. There are 4 titles within our Ford group, which is Muscle Mustangs and Fast Fords Magazine, 5.0 and Super Fords, Mustang Monthly, and Modified Mustang and Fords, and each one had its own website. And it was it was a daunting task to try to maintain 4 websites at a high quality. So we decided to create one website that incorporates all the Ford news, all the Ford features. Each magazine brand has its own landing page, but the Mustang 360 site incorporates everybody's efforts. We had 15 stories alone just from the Mustang 50th events going on in Las Vegas and in Charlotte. We also covered the intro of the 50th anniversary car in New York City. So I think we did a good job promoting the new Mustang and covering the events, and you'll see more of that as we move forward. And then you can also find all the brands on Twitter, on Facebook, of course. I think the Muscle page is over 2.3 million followers at this point. And we're also on Instagram if you simply like looking at cool photos. I'm not going to bore you with all the different hashtags and slugs for the different brands, but we're out there. You could find us.
And we'll have all that. We'll have all that information on the Heels on Wheels Facebook page, and we're hoping to get some more fans out of you guys as well. We love working with you, and there's so much more we could talk about. I mean, I have a list of things written down, and we got to maybe 2 of them. So, all right, it's been great talking with you. This has been Taylor Hyatt, Krista Elise, and Diana Clausen with Evan Smith for Heels on Wheels radio program. We'll be right back right after this.
Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, it's up to you to be ready. Get a kit, make a plan, be informed. Learn how at www.ready.gov. Brought to you by the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Yen Scott from Summit Point Kart in Summit Point, West Virginia. If you're looking for a real racing experience on a real racetrack, come out to Summit Point Kart this weekend. For as little as $25, you can get your racing career started. New this year, Summit Point Kart offers the RX 250, capable of over 75 miles an hour. We're open every Friday from 5 p.m. till 9 p.m., Saturday from noon till 10 p.m., and Sunday from noon till 9 p.m. For more information, go to our website, summitpointkartwithak.com, or you can call us at 304-725-5270. Summit Point Kart, your East Coast karting center.
Now it's time to shift gears. Here's Leonard from Cotman.
All shook up. More after this.
Car problems? You can trust your local Cotman man. Cotman has a 40-year history as a leader in car repair and making happy, satisfied customers. Whatever's wrong with your car, SUV, or truck, Cotman will check it out free using state-of-the-art diagnostic equipment. Don't take chances with your car. Bring it to Cotman and let your local Cotman man show you why they are America's transmission and total auto care experts. Visit Cotman.com to download money-saving coupons. Cotman. Real service, real fast.
You ever notice when you're driving on the highway, after a high rate of speed, you just barely touch the brakes and the whole front of the car starts to shake? Doesn't necessarily mean that your front end is out of alignment. Cotman Transmission's Total Car Care also can inspect your brakes, your front end, and your wheel bearings. Cotman Transmissions in Manassas, Virginia offers a free 21-point check. It consists of road testing your vehicle, a thorough visual inspection, and an electronic scan of the computer system. This goes a long way. Come see us.
See Leonard and the fine folks at Cotman of Manassas, 9113 Mathis Avenue in Manassas. Give them a call at 703-365-7200.
Y'all ready for this?
Hey, you got a problem with women drivers? Well, these ladies will run circles around you and most of your friends. Now, back to Heels on Wheels on the PerformanceMotorsportsNetwork.com.
Hey guys, this is Katie from Beauty's Got Muscle. So, because of last week's rant about newer cars with computers versus older cars, it got me thinking about GPS and maps and the battle between those two, the positive and negatives. So, hot out of the gates, you probably all can guess that I'm not a massive fan of GPS. Why? Because robots are controlling the Earth. Among those reasons, though, I don't care for the people who use GPS like it is a 3D simulator and they put it right in front of their face on the windshield and are looking at that and like, I'll watch this little purple arrow as it goes along this road. Meanwhile, completely neglecting the real life situation that's going on around them and the other vehicles. That happens too many times to count, and I no longer have patience for it, which is also fueling my hatred for these GPSs. And I also like the idea of maps. Just looking out and planning your own route and becoming more involved in the driving, and also becoming more competent as a human, knowing where you are and where you're going. Because the moment your GPS is malfunctioning, if you've only been using that and just looking at that little maybe mile radius that it gives you as far as space, you have no idea really where it's taking you. It could one day just say, I'm going to take you to the darkest, scariest place in the world where all the other GPSs are sending every other human, and we're going to put you all in a big cave and lock you up, and then we're going to go and control the Earth. Does anybody ever think about that? Maybe you should, because this is why GPSs are everywhere and we all think they're our friends until one day they're going to turn on us and lock us in a cave. And we're all going to end up eating each other because there's nothing else to eat, unless hopefully some of us went grocery shopping and had some food in the back so we can at least eat some of that. In any case, maps are really romantic. I like them. I like the look of them. I like to look out and be able to plan my route, because sometimes I don't necessarily like to go the fastest way, or I don't like to go on the major roadways. Like, there's certain roads on Long Island that always the GPS will say, and the GPS meaning my phone, because I don't like the actual GPS. I think they're super sinister. So I'll look at what my phone wants to take me or what its opinion is. I'll give it a chance. I'm not going to listen to it, by no means. It may happen to be the same thing as I want it to do, but because I'm a human living being and I was here first, it was my thought first, not its. Anyway, like, it'll want me to take major highways and roads that I know it says it's going to be fast, but it's going to be the speed limit and it's going to be crowded with people, and I know there's other roads I can take that, one, are much more enjoyable, two, they have way less traffic on them, and three, there might be a homeless person I just want to wave to when I go that way. That's the way I want to take. I want to decide, and I feel like GPSs are taking that away from us altogether, and especially because they're being like put into cars now. They're like becoming a standard, and those are becoming a standard. I found out, and spare tires are becoming an option. Like, you get GPS, but you don't even get a spare tire. So when the GPS strands you, you don't have a tire to replace it anymore, which is really, really, really sketchy. I think they're also behind removing the spare tires in the car. Anyway, so the only good thing that's ever come out of a GPS is the TomTom commercial with the Star Wars characters with Yoda and Darth Vader. If you haven't seen them, YouTube TomTom, Darth Vader, or Yoda, and have yourself a good time. But after that, I recommend go out and buy some maps or use your phone as just a map to plan your own route, because I don't want you to end up eating someone else in a cave, because it's just dark. So next week I'll actually be heading out to South Bend, Indiana with Amanda Hennessy, race car driver, great gal, and the Swiss Dubler racing team, Robert Dubler, the whole chocolatier situation. Great time. One Lap of America, Brock Yates, One Lap of America, and the Swiss, who are just, I understand the Swiss Army knife a lot more now once I met the Swiss. They're very efficient people, compact into one little unit. They use maps all the time, and they plot their routes the days before. So they'll all get together in a little circle, and I actually have pictures of them doing this, and they'll highlight on the map the route, which is super smart, and I'm just very fond of their ways, and it also gives me a little peace that people are still out there trusting maps over sketchy computers. I mean, the GPSs are getting better, they're learning more of the roads, but even as I just said that statement, they're learning more of our roads. Inside my body just got terrified. So hopefully I'm just crazy and none of this will ever happen. But if it does, you all heard it first from this ginger, KDP. This has been another rant and possible psychosis moment with KDP from Beauty's Got Muscle. You can check out more of our stuff at beautysgotmuscle.com. Now back to the ladies of Heels on Wheels.
All right, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I can't go anywhere except work, home, and the radio station without my GPS. So, sorry, but I can't.
I'm thinking I'm glad I'm not the only psycho on the show. So, all right.
Okay, no offense, but how many of you actually know how to read a map?
Hey, I can. I just choose not to.
No, I'm now occasionally challenged.
Okay, my GPS might have tried to run me into a lake once, but I was smart enough not.
Like, oh, that's cool. I can totally drive on water.
I was smart enough not to drive into the water. So, all right, this week's roundtable is about discussion forums, and we're talking social media posts, asking questions, or looking for information about a car, a project, really anything in general, or on an actual discussion forum, racing forum, anything like that. And Krista, you brought this up to me this morning and said that was the only thing going wrong with your week so far. So go ahead and tell us about your post.
I know. I usually have a plethora of things to roundtable and complain about. It must be a good week. So the thing that I said, and this kind of came from my racing soiree last weekend at MIR, is, I appreciate the help, but, you go on there and post one thing and you have 50 million people telling you 10 different things and everybody's an expert. And then I'm like, what does everybody think about car forums, social forums, and what they do for the industry?
Diana, what are you thinking?
With me, it's going to turn into a girls and boys thing. So I'm really just trying to keep my mouth shut. Especially when it comes to cars, man. I'm passing. I'm just gonna pass.
All right, let me input here when she says the girls and boys thing. So when you go on a legitimate car forum, unless you put a screen name in there like Miss Sexy Pants or Hot Bottom 206, which could be a guy. But anyway, I mean, you don't know whether it's a guy or a girl unless they're like, look at my boobs. By the way, I ran my car. So
or smiley face, winky face.
So, I mean, to me, it's, guys talking to guys, let's think of it that way, is, while there is some good information, it could be detrimental to the people trying to really learn and start out in the industry because they don't know what's right and what's wrong. And everybody has an expert opinion because everybody, experiences different things when it comes to cars.
Well, the thing that I hate when I go to look something, I personally know how to change my oil, change my tires, change my brakes, stuff like that, but I don't know things really about the motor of my car. So when I go to look something up and look for people's opinions, I get 5 different answers. Which one am I supposed to use? No one can tell me the same thing twice.
Is your screen name Super Boobs 123?
Why wouldn't it be that?
That was Taylor. Oh my God.
Sorry for the language on the internet. My bad. All right. I just think. Oh, and like I said in the opening, let me put this way. Why must you start the name calling, the cursing, the putting people down, that kind of stuff? I don't get it. You're trying to learn and inform people.
Keyboard cowboy or keyboard tough guy. Because on the internet, everybody's a tough guy.
Yeah. Well, this is a very interesting thing, especially since we had Evan on the show today. And this actually kind of ties in with Evan's company. When the ladies did the Mustang build at SEMA 2 years ago, they told me, they said, this has been a really interesting build because we've gotten a lot of feedback from different guys who were kind of associated in the background of the build, and they said, wow, when you guys get mad, you don't scream and cuss and tell each other off and throw tools around the garage. You guys are just like, hey, let's put our heads together, let's see what we come up with. It's a whole different vibe, and every guy that kind of saw, witnessed this build noticed the dynamic was totally different. I mean, there was no. You think, okay, maybe there'd be a little bitchiness here.
Yeah, Diana, you know why we don't throw tools? Because when the guys behind the scenes ask us what's wrong, we're like, nothing.
And there's probably no talking going on at all because everybody's pissed off at everybody else.
Right. I mean, and it's funny, too, because these girls said, and if we did talk, it was always about the build of the cars. So I think it's a dynamic, and, maybe that extra chromosome and probably more brain cells. Oh, shit. I did say that. Wait, okay. I got to put some tape back.
All right.
You guys let me out of my cage.
I think we need a male opinion. What does our producer, Bob Steele, think about this?
Uh-oh. I'm in trouble now.
Big trouble.
Okay.
Oh, I'm getting fired. I'm sorry.
We have to shut Diana down.
Very, very quickly, I think that anytime you get 3 race drivers, 3 mechanics, or 3 anybody to agree on one thing, then it might be right. Anything less than 3, forget it. And the forums, don't pay any attention to the advice forums have because most of the time it's wrong.
I'm going to use your logic and do a little test there and see how that goes.
Just don't do it to your car, Krista.
Well, someone already told me yesterday that my breather system was inadequate. I'm like, you have 7-second breathe cars using my breather system. And Charlie just shook his head.
Yeah, everybody's an expert when they're looking it up on Google. Okay?
Well, and that goes back to my dad. My dad, there aren't very many guys that I can say I admire. Bob is one of them. He's definitely a guy I admire, but my dad is another, and he had the old-fashioned adage of opinions are like a-holes, so everybody has one, so there you go.
And some people have too.
I want to mention AskPatty.com. For anything you need, go there, look it up there first, ask for advice. There's tons of people that can help you there. They're a good place to go to for information and also a good place to go to look for places to get your car worked on. So before you go to a car forum, try that first. Do something else other than listening to people's opinions on the internet. All right? I just don't. I'm done talking about that. I think it's making me angry.
Keyboard cowboy, laugh at yourself, somebody to make fun of.
All right. Well, unfortunately, this conversation is over, and that is a wrap for this week's edition of the Heels on Wheels radio program. We'll be back next week with even more amazing guests. Thanks to our guests this week, kart racer turned stock car driver, Kayla Lyons, and editor of Muscle Mustangs and Fast Forwards magazine, and NHRA drag racer, Evan Smith. Find out more about KDP and Beauty's Got Muscle by visiting www.beautysgotmuscle.com or on Facebook. For more tailgating recipes, like Chef Sizzlin Scotty's Facebook page, facebook.com/tailgategrillin with Sizzlin Scotty. Make sure you head on over to our YouTube channel where you can listen to all of this year's shows. And don't forget about our email interviews on our blog, www.heelsonwheelsradio.blogspot.com. Our hosts have been Krista Elise, Diana Clausen, and myself, Taylor Hyatt. Thanks to our production engineer and programming consultant, Bob Steele. Thanks for listening. Now let's go racing.
Heels on Wheels is a copyrighted production of www.performancemotorsportsnetwork.com, a member of the Scorpion Radio Group, Incorporated, and may not be rebroadcast, replicated, or saved in any media without the explicit written permission of PMN. Check out our Facebook page, Heels on Wheels Radio Show, or our section on the PMN website. The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect those of the management and ownership of either PMN or Scorpion Radio Group Incorporated. Be listening next week as the fastest women on the planet rev it up and talk racing.